Okay, this is my childhood best friend Matt and his incredibly sweet now wife Hannah. The wedding was in May, and I was granted the honor of being a groomsman. So this past winter into spring, I was looking at the couple's registry page, and I found two items that were really useful and nice. But they didn't get that great of reviews on Amazon. For these napkin rings, one reviewer said, "The sellers should be ashamed of themselves." Oof. They go on to describe how wood stain had still been tacky and not only stained their hands but ruined the napkins placed in them, even after a week of drying. What happened is the seller advertised them as being made of real rosewood, which isn't very cheap, but decided to make them out of a super cheap wood like pine and poorly stain them, hoping no one would notice. But we did. Unfortunately for the seller, the other reviewers didn't seem too pleased either. As for the utensil organizer, I couldn't find the exact page that the registry originally pointed to, but in some other pages I found the reviews were split. And for the $13 they were charging, I figured it couldn't be terribly high quality and built to last. And after reading, I have zero idea what that sticky goop is on the bottom and next panel to the left, I confirmed that I would be making my own. The designs seemed like they'd be a fun challenge to emulate, so I decided to make them myself. I'm Shane, and this is how to make a napkin ring set as well as a custom utensil drawer organizer. And on to materials. For the napkin rings, I decided to use these mahogany turning blank pieces that I got in a 4-pack from Amazon. The pieces are 2x2x6, and I chose mahogany because it's a hardwood, it'll last, and has a nice color naturally, so you don't need to stain it at all. And for the organizer, I knew that I wanted no plywood on the edges because the edges of thin plywood are way too hard to edge band, and it just ends up looking bad. So I decided to go with these 1/4" by 4" poplar boards from Home Depot. You can find them in the hobby section. They're really not too expensive for the hardwood that they are, even though they feel a little softer and very lightweight. And they have a really nice color. The color matched the vibe that was on the Amazon page a little bit closer than its other counterparts, but also has a dense and straight grain, unlike woods like oak. Like oak has a very almost rough grain, sort of like spacious between them. So this is great for sealing and waterproofing because there isn't much to seal up grain wise. And I chose a 4" wide because it let me arrange the pieces a little more efficiently, but more on that later. And as for the base, I used a 1/4" sanded plywood because that would fit the best everything on it most price efficiently, but also no one needs to see the sides of it because it's going to be hidden with the rabbet joints anyway. And also it's orthogonally stronger than planks, meaning like a perpendicular force to it, so it's a little bit stronger in that way. But if I didn't want to do this, I could have just edge glued boards together, which is kind of a pain in the butt to do. So I would definitely recommend avoiding doing that. And other materials I use in general were just wood glue, and some extra, I guess if you want to count it, some extra sawdust to make the wood filler later on the project. And on to the design. All of these models were built in Fusion 360, so if you are looking to design anything dimensional, definitely learn how to use it. For the napkin rings, I started with the base inner and outer circles, and I made them in a way that they would have a 1/2 inch thick ring left on the inside. And I didn't add any flare onto this because I wanted to leave the beveling and pattern to be done by eye, because it's kind of a waste of time to do it online if you're going to be working with it hands-on and seeing what it looks like in the moment. So on to the Fusion design for the utensil organizer. First, I drew a rough sketch on paper based on the look and general dimensions I found on Amazon. I'd show that, but I actually can't find the notebook. Oh well. So on the Fusion side, all the outer boxes were put together with butt joints here. And then if I take away this, I'll show you here that I made the outer boxes slide out wings, so these move outwards. And then the inner box, if I get rid of that too, the inner box here is all made of one piece. So then I took the measurements of the height and width of the open center, did the math to get the right length of all the dividers, then added an 1/8 inch to each of these dividers, so that on each end, so that there's a total addition length of around 1/4 inch, which would be adding. Well, you add half of the thickness of the perpendicular piece onto the end of each, so that the rabbet joint, it'll make a slot and it'll sit down directly into that slot. So at the end of the box, made rails that would have the wings slide along that. These rails are just half the thickness of the lengthwise piece again. Then after this, I contacted my school's makerspace that had a CNC machine that I wanted to use. So that brings us here to the machining tab. Man that I talked to, the director, he told me to set it all up in the machining tab with a whole tool path and using correct flute, man, for the CNC machine. So I ended up spending many hours, around 2 months, in constant contact with this guy to get this thing ready to go on the CNC. And as soon as I got everything working, and even then I have a toolpath simulation all set up, the guy ghosted me. Yeah, around a month and a half from the end of the school year, he just stopped responding. I went to go visit in person and he did not care. Didn't ever contact me back. So on to the next idea, to just have everything cut out. No amount of money has ever bought a single second of time. Now, this project costed a lot more than the Amazon version, as well as many hours of designing and building. But at the very least, I hope it shows that time, thought, and effort can combine to make something worth more than money can define. For anyone who's considering making anything, whether it be for a family member, a friend, a partner, do it. Just a little bit of time and creativity can go a long way into making something priceless. Thanks for watching. Remember to let me know if you liked it, and I'll see you again next time.